Okay, so 2023 was the year of Oregon's long legislative session, right? Obviously, it was derailed for weeks because of the GOP walkout in the Senate, but dozens, if not hundreds of bills did pass through the halls of Salem, and they received Governor Kotek's signature of approval. The topics and the issues they cover are countless, but there is one that caught our eye, and it has to do with amputated body parts. Yeah, is that enough to get your attention? Well, it should. It's tonight's big story. When this new law takes effect later this month, healthcare facilities will be allowed to return amputated body parts to patients who ask for them. In the past, whenever somebody needed an amputation, those parts were incinerated after the procedure. So why is this all important? Well, it's about culture and beliefs here in the physical world and what some believe happens after this life in the spiritual world. China Green explains.
This is for cultural, spiritual, or religious reasons. St. Charles Health System and leaders of the Confederated Tribes of Warm Springs pushed for Senate Bill 189. For some members of the tribes, keeping a person's body together is necessary for a smooth transition to the spirit world. Governor Kotek signed it in July. It allows people to keep amputated body parts if it is intended for cremation, internment, or other final wishes. Shiloh Tippett, a Warm Springs tribal member and manager of caregiver inclusion and experience at St. Charles, tells me this is a legitimate practice for many.
Some tribal people keep everything. So when they get their hair cut or it comes out when they're brushing, they keep that in a pillowcase or in a satchel for time of death. Same with fingernail clippings and other things like that. So it is a lot of people don't know that this is a very legitimate, real practice for many people. And so when you contrast that to how the law was versus how it is now, it will have huge impact and it will be so meaningful to many people.
Before this new law, returning body parts was either difficult or impossible.
We do know that there have been patients who've been very hesitant or who have postponed medical interventions because they weren't allowed or able to bring home their amputated body part, which obviously prevented their spiritual belief from being honored.
Tribes have different beliefs, and not all tribal people have this belief, but for those who do, it could look something like this. In Warm Springs, there are experienced undertakers who would take care of an amputated body part until that person died, and there are several ways to do this.
So there's medical grade freezers that can be used to freeze the body part until it's ready. Another practice is that it's buried on tribal land, obviously cared for by the undertaker who knows, is organized in that area. And then once the person passes away, the body part would be unearthed and then put back with the body.
And China joins me in studio. So China, it seems like this is a pretty unique law. Is there anything else like it around the country?
It's actually happening in Washington, so just to the north of us. And the people that I talked to today, they said when they were drafting this bill, they did it very similar to what is already in effect in Washington.
And how about in Oregon? When does it go into effect here?
So it's not in effect yet, but it will go into effect towards the end of the month.
I think what's really interesting about this story is that people who support this bill, they say this is so important for them because it really can be the difference between life and death for some people.
Yeah, that's right. Because if they have these beliefs, these tribal members will put off or withhold medical care that could be life or death, and it's because they believe in this spiritual journey, and if it's not going to end the way that they want to because they can't get the limb or whatever is cut off of them back, then it's not going to happen for them.
Yeah, all right, well, keep us posted on the timeline of this bill going into effect. China, thank you. And we'd love to hear your thoughts on this. You can email the story at kgw.com or call and leave a voicemail 503-226-5090.